Okay, welcome back. So, in the previous part, we finished up the second area, or second major area, and we're heading towards the third area. Sorry, I don't really know names of, like, the areas, or even if they have names. Because, like, in Metroid 1, every area had some kind of name, like Brinstar, Norfair, Crane and Ridley's layers, and then Torian. But I'm not really sure these areas have names, or if they do, I just don't know them. So, let's see. We're going to actually be getting some fun new items in this episode. One of which I've already mentioned as being a new item introduced in this game, and I'm not really looking forward to it because it can be kind of a pain to control. But I won't spoil too much about it in case you don't remember or you just don't know. So let's see. Okay, so here's the deal with this next area that we're going to be doing. We're technically kind of already in it, but there's two sections to it. There's the large room section, and then there's the deep cavern section, which is the section we're about to fall down into. Now, here's the thing with this section, the caverns part of it. There are, I don't think there's any items in here. This is just Metroids. So if you're like me and you only have a small amount of missiles, like 50, you're not going to want to explore all of this. One, you probably can't. And there's really, since there's no items, there's no point in really exploring other than to kill the Metroids, which, if you don't have the missiles for, you can't do. So I'm just gonna kill the two that are kind of in our way to get out of here. That one wasn't actually in our way, but it made me realize that I only had 55 missiles going into this area, and I wasn't going to be able to clear it. But I'm glad that I managed to kill at least a couple, just to save missiles for later, when we recharge, after we recharge and come back here. If you really want to take out this area first before exploring the big room, there is a missile recharge station very close to the entrance of the big room. That sort of stone wall thing is, you can walk through it, so don't get, like, confused. I think it's there on purpose to just kind of confuse you. Now, here's the thing, you can't go back down through that. That's a one-way door, because otherwise you're going to get hit by spikes, and that hurts, as you can probably guess. Turns out spikes hurt you. Alright. Annoying enemies. Alright, so we need to head up now. This is how you get into the main room, or the big room. That's the thing with Metroid 2. It seems like all the areas are just one giant room with a bunch of little rooms attached to it. Or at least that's what I've noticed. Because it seems like all of the main areas in the game, other than maybe like the last area, well, even then, that has a sort of a large room. But there's really not a lot there because it's not really meant to be explored that much since there's really no items in there. So back to the left, there is a sand pit, and if you go down in there, that's how you get to the missile recharge station. I kind of forgot about it. So if you want to get your missiles before coming this way, you should do that. And I probably should have done that, because I'm gonna have to backtrack to get them. But first, everyone's favorite item, the space jump. So, space jump was introduced in this game, and it's essentially an infinite jump, but it can be a little tricky to get a handle on. There's a rhythm you have to get into in order to make it work. I find when trying to go up, like strictly up, it's best to kind of like go back and forth on the D-pad. If you start falling too far, it will stop working. So you gotta be kind of careful. Definitely take this time to get used to it, because the game essentially requires you to play with it to proceed. Because they do lock a couple of Metroids behind areas that require the space jump. Or more or less require the space jump. You might be able to get past it with damage boost, or the spider ball, but it's just so much easier with the space jump, as long as you get that rhythm down. Hey, a missile pack. Save. And this is at the point where I realized, oh, I don't really have any missiles. I should probably go back and find that missile recharge station. Because I believe down there is a Metroid. And I only have 27 missiles and don't feel like fighting it halfway, just to realize that I don't have the have the missiles to deal with it. But apparently I'm not taking my own advice, and I'm going after something else instead. So, if you don't have the space jump, that section is going to be really annoying to get back up. You gotta time your jumps. I mean, even with the space jump, it's kind of annoying. Come down here, coward. Fight me. It's really annoying when they don't follow you all the way down the screen. Because then they get stuck up there and you gotta use the space jump to get them down here. Because they're only active when they're on the screen and won't actually chase after you until they come back on the screen. I'm sorry, you guys have to listen to this annoying beeping sound. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a health recharge station in this area, but I can't remember if there's just one in the caverns area, or if there's one somewhere in the big room. If you are hurting for health, there is an energy tank in this area. These things are so annoying. It's hard to get the timing down with them sometimes. Come on, space jump. Whoop. Alright. Let's blow a hole through this. Okay, I think the energy tank is in here. Yeah. So, again, this is 100% playthrough. Something I had kind of realized later on was that I missed a missile pack in the second area. Don't worry, we'll be back for it. I'll show us getting that. But we have a few things we need to do before that point. Alright, let's get out of here. So, you may have been wondering why I didn't just use the spider ball up this wall. That's because you can't really turn the corners on these things. Alright, so at this point, if you can manage it, you're probably better off just using the space jump to get all the way back up here. I unfortunately keep messing up the rhythm. Yeah. You might be able to pass it while they're down, but as you can probably guess, if you get hit by the spikes, you're going to go out of space jump. And once you're out of space jump, you can't get back in it until you touch the ground and jump again. I promise we won't be watching... this won't be the entire episode. Come on. We're almost to the top, I think. Famous last words. Again, get used to space jump. Because you're gonna have to if you want to beat this game. Alright, I think there's... no, thinking of a different room. That's the thing, like, they copy and paste a lot of these large rooms. So there's always, like, a section at the top where you can enter into, but you can't do anything up there because it's a copy and paste of another section that actually does have something up there. Usually like a missile pack or maybe a recharge station. So down here is actually where the missile recharge station is. So now that we have that, we can actually go back to that area that we decided to hold off on because I didn't think I had I didn't think I would have enough missiles to deal with it. So yeah, again, you should probably stop there before exploring the rest of this area, just so you don't have to go backtracking and stuff. Honestly, the worst thing with the space jump is when you get super close to the very top, but your space jump gives out right before you can reach the top, and then you have to restart. Well, one, you have to watch yourself fall all the way down, and then you have to restart. Hold on, let me just change to my missile. My missiles. This guy's... they like to put these guys in these type of rooms, these large rooms, that essentially require you to go up and find them before they'll activate again. Now, the easiest way to kill Gammas, these are Gamma Metroids, just as a reminder, is actually from the bottom. Because they, as you can tell, they have sort of this lightning type attack coming out their front. They're really fast, so it's hard to get behind them. So really the best way is to take them out from the bottom. Let's turn off our missile cannon. Hate to waste missiles firing at nothing. Alright, unfortunately we did kind of miss the block. So, up here is another missile tank. Now, I think this is the only game that has missile tanks that are worth 10 missiles, like as standard missile tanks. I know in Dread, they have special missile tanks that are worth 10, but they are usually given to the player when they perform some Shine Spark puzzle or something like that. They're generally harder to get, so the reward is better. If you're really hurting for missiles, you can kill those things, but you're probably just better off going back to the missile recharge. Hey, the Spazer. Probably my least favorite beam weapon in the game. I think it essentially becomes the wide beam in later games, but it just doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Again, it's wider, so it'll be more likely to hit something, but I don't know. I personally prefer the beam that we're up to get. Come on. Thank you, boost jump. Cheap enemy placement. Alright, we got a Metroid! I love how everything just basically stops whenever a Metroid comes onto the screen. Alright. Where are we at now? 21 left? Ooh. We're about halfway there. Alright. So, through this room, we're going to be getting the fourth and final different beam weapon, the Plasma Beam. Now, I believe Plasma Beam is probably the strongest of them all. It's one giant, one laser, that's it. But it just wrecks pretty much any enemy. I'm not entirely sure why they put the Spazer and the Plasma Beam so close together. Because, I don't know about you, but I just tend to stick with whatever beam I get. Unless, you know, I'm essentially required to, like, the Ice Beam in Metroid 1, where you kind of need the Ice Beam to beat the game. Alright, so this is one of those instances where they essentially require you to use the space jump, and it's, I don't know, this is kind of dickish placement in my opinion. I end up just damage boosting my way the rest of the way up. Okay, so those things, I don't think you can destroy them. But they're really annoying because they like to stop right and do that type of crap. And yeah, getting through that section is mandatory because they hide a Metroid back here. And I don't know, that it's just really tight to try and space jump your way through that. There we go. Doo-doo-doo. And it's just an Alpha Metroid. Like, I don't think we'll be seeing any of the new Metroids in this episode. They also hide a nice little energy tank back here. So, let's see. I think there's 6 energy tanks in total in the game. Again, just like Metroid 1, they give you an extra energy tanks than extra energy tanks. How can I say? More than what you can actually hold. I think it's primarily just so if you need a refill, you have that availability. And I do appreciate that, but it's not quite as helpful as in Metroid 1, where energy tanks were the only way to get a mass amount of health. In this game, we have the energy refill stations. Which essentially do the same job, except it doesn't give you an extra energy tank to work with. Alright, let's go ahead and space jump our way back up here. Thank you. If you don't feel confident with the space jump, one, you should probably practice a bit, because, again, they're going to make you use it, and it's better to get used to it now than to get later in the game where it's a lot tougher to try and get used to it. But again, if you're not quite feeling confident, especially in those larger rooms where if you fall, you're falling down a far distance, just use the spider ball. There's no harm or shame in doing that. So, like, in this instance, I decided to just use the spider ball because I don't really want to bother with the space jump. Alright. So, I believe that's everything in this main room. So we need to head back down here and recharge missiles, because we got a lot of Metroids to kill. So the caverns, I can't remember how many in total there are, but I want to say there's probably about 5 to 10 Metroids down there. All of which are Gamma and Alphas. We already killed 2 of them, so at least our load is a bit lighter compared to if we had just came this way first and then went back. Again, none of the beams will damage the Metroids, unfortunately. So even though the plasma beam is the most powerful beam, it doesn't do anything to Metroids. I hate the placement of that one. This level also has these little prickly things on the ground and on like the ceiling and stuff. And those are pretty annoying. Yeah. There's no point in coming down this far. It's primarily just there because you missed your jump, and now you have to scale back up. Do we want to go this way? I guess we're going up first. Again, I don't believe there's any items in here, so it's literally just Metroids. This is me not remembering where to go. We need to actually go up. There's gotta be something in here. Why would they design it like this? Alright. So there is a Metroid in here. I would take a couple of seconds to try and clear away some of this stuff, because otherwise your missiles are just gonna hit it and not actually hit the Metroid. Just be aware that it does respawn if you go off the screen, if it goes off the screen. So try not to go too far in any one direction. Thankfully, it's just an Alpha Metroid, so it doesn't take too many missiles to kill. I think Alphas only take about 5, I want to say. Should probably actually count at some point, but I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. Alright. Unfortunately, we can't do anything to him from there, so we need to go through the Metroid Husk. This one's kind of a annoying placed one. Thankfully, they can't hit you from while you're down there. Thankfully. But they put it in this room with all this stuff that eats your missiles. So you gotta try and clear some of it away before you actually enter. So when you see me, like, go back and then go forward, it's because I'm trying to get the spider ball to go in the direction I want. And I find getting it to do that be a little easier if I go the opposite direction first. It often doesn't, especially if you, like, start next to a corner, it tends to not know what to do. But if you go in the opposite direction, it generally responds better. Or at least that's what I've found. Now, I think those things on the walls do hurt you, so don't touch them. I feel like that happened to me once in my test playthrough. Alright. Yeah. There is a Metroid down here. They really love putting Gamma Metroids in these long, or tall rooms like this. So that's the energy refill station. Now the reason why I kind of went the way that I did was because I wanted this to be the last sort of area that I go to. So that we get this energy refill station before heading back up and leaving the area. So before we actually do leave the area leave the overall area, because this caverns and the big room are essentially part of the same area, like in terms of Metroids, because we won't be able to go on to the next area until we finish killing all the Metroids in these two sections of the larger area. That's what you love to see. Well, not that part, but the part where you hit it, it goes back, and then just runs right back into you, into your missile. Alright, there's the earthquake, which means that we did get all the Metroids. Now, I think just like that spiked fake floor, you can't go through that Metroid husk down into that area. That's like a one-way route. Now, I'm doing this kind of the wrong way, because this is actually where the save point is. You're kind of intended to go off onto the left side and go and fight that Metroid that we fought towards the beginning of the part. And then come back out, like, through this room. But since we had space jump and I wasn't really thinking about it, I just kind of went in the way that I saw. So that's why I went that way. Alright. Now that we're back in the main room, let's go ahead and recharge our missiles and start heading towards the next area. So again, there are more than like 5 areas. There's a lot of like sub-areas or little smaller areas, but there's basically 5 main areas. We just completed the 3rd one. We're heading off to the 4th one, and that one has probably the most iconic power-up in it, as well as one of the most annoying forms of that the Metroid will take. Oh, by the way, those things can only be killed when hit in the center. Those sort of things surrounding it are essentially shields. Okay. Yeah. Again, this game likes to have sort of a sectioned off area attached to the main area, or the main path to the final boss. But, alright. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.